Cross-examination.
Mr. Noiman.
Yes.
Your statement on the police is so different than it is today, right?
A little bit.
Well, now you're saying you bought a knife for self-defense.
Right.
And on the statement, you said you bought the knife because you planned to kill your father, right?
Right. Like in self-defense.
Oh, so you can kill your father in self-defense is what you bought the knife for.
I wanted to protect myself, yes.
So you planned out this self-defense where you were purchasing a knife in anticipation of self-defense.
If I needed to, yeah.
Right? And you bought trash bags in self-defense?
Yeah, I did. Well, no, I was thinking if that happened, I was stupid, and I was thinking there was like a way to like hide this body, but it wasn't.
Right, you're going to hide a body in self-defense too? That's part of your plan?
Well, if I kill somebody in self-defense, I don't want
Right, you got to hide this body somewhere, right?
Yeah, it seemed like I did.
You bought gloves to defend yourself as well, right?
Well, I didn't want to leave fingerprints.
Right. You don't want to get caught when you killed them in self-defense, right?
Right.
You dug a hole at the beach in self-defense, right?
That was like stupid, but I guess I was like thinking that I could have buried him, but I didn't. I wasn't able to do that.
And that hole was dug. You dug that in self-defense too?
If I had to like defend myself, yeah, like.
Okay. And when you talked to the police and they pulled you over and you're covered in blood, you told them that was a nosebleed in self-defense too?
I just didn't want to say what happened. I didn't know what else to tell them.
All right, so let's talk about the statement that you remember talking to the police when they pulled you over, right?
Yeah.
You watched the video.
Yeah.
Covered your whole body and head to toe in blood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You told them that you had a nosebleed.
Right.
That was a lie.
Yes.
You told them that you got in a fight in Boca Raton with some black guy. That was a lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when they asked you about your elbow and all the questions, they were with you for a real long time, right?
When they stopped me in Delray, I don't remember them being there that long.
They were polite to you, right?
Yeah, they were, yeah.
And even though you told them this made-up story where you were lying to them about this, what happened to you in Boca, they called paramedics for you to check you out, make sure that you were okay.
Yeah, they did.
Right?
Yeah.
Even let you keep your car and told you could just park it in the corner in the Office Depot parking lot.
Yes.
Because that car means everything to you.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? That's where your whole life was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're mad at your dad because he wouldn't let you drive the car. Right?
No, I've never needed to drive the car before.
But you're saying you didn't trust the police, but these Delray Beach police officers couldn't have been any more nicer to you, right?
Yes.
Helped you out, made sure that you were okay.
Yes.
So after that, in self-defense, took off all your clothes. You threw your clothes in the trash can in that Home Depot parking lot, right?
I wanted to hide the blood or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Hide the blood in self-defense, right?
I guess so.
You wanted to hide the gloves that you just murdered your father in self-defense in that trash can too?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You wanted to hide the bloody sheet that was in the back of your your SUV?
Yeah.
That was also in self-defense?
Well, if after what had happened, to defend myself from like getting arrested.
Right. So let's talk about when they did stop you.
Yeah.
They stopped you the next day, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, they bring you into the police station again.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And they ask you a bunch of more questions about what happened again, right?
Yes.
Detective Peck didn't threaten you with anything, right?
No.
Again, police officers that are being very nice to you, right?
Yes.
They get you water, right?
Right.
They allow you to use the restroom while you're there?
They would have if I needed to.
Okay. Everybody in there is being very polite.
Yes.
And in that statement, you told even more lies to them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You told them that the car was registered to you. That was a lie.
Yes.
Right? You told them that you got in a fight and you walked off and the person that you got into a fight walked off. Right?
Yes.
That was a lie.
Yeah.
You told him that the fight that happened between you and this black male was on Yamato Road.
Yes.
Right? Another lie.
Yes.
And you said that person that you got in a fight with, you only seen him a couple times. Another lie, right?
Yes.
You said you never had any good interactions with that person. Also a lie.
Yes.
Because that person that you got in a fight with, your father.
Yeah.
Technically your roommate at this point. How old are you at this time in 2020?
26.
Right? You're an adult.
Yes.
You don't have to be living with your father at that point. You're free to go anywhere you want to go at 18.
I tried to leave. Okay.
Is that true? You're an adult.
Yes, I'm an adult. Yes.
Right? And you told the police officers, Detective Peck, on this first interview, you didn't know this person's name.
Yeah.
Lie.
Right.
You told them that it was a black male. Also a lie.
Yeah.
Right? You told them that this black male was 20, 30, or 40 years old. Also a lie.
Yeah.
Right? And then you told them that you only punched him a few times.
Yeah.
That was a lie.
Yes.
Right? And then you told them that that person who you got in a fight with actually got the best of you. Right?
Yes.
Another lie.
Yes.
Right? Because you would admit you got the best of what your father is. You're sitting here today to testify and your father is not.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you said that you were fine and the guy was only bleeding a little bit.
I thought I said I got beat up really bad and he was just bleeding a little bit.
Right, that's what I mean. The person that hit you, this black guy that you told a lie to, that guy was only bleeding a little bit.
Yeah.
You saw the pictures of your father. Your dad was bleeding more than just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You said that the person that you got in a fight with had no weapons.
Right.
Right? Something that you said was true.
Yes.
You don't know who he is, and you've only talked to him really fast. Again, more of a lie, right? Because you're living in this car with him, right? You know your dad, right? He's been your dad for 26 years at that point, right? Living with him. How many years you guys are living together in the
car?
Since you're 12 years old, you were living down here in Florida with him.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're living with him for 14 years.
Yeah.
Now, you said you were not sure what your dad does. You stopped talking to him, right?
Yeah.
Also a lie.
Yeah.
Right? Because you talked to your dad hours before you had this conversation.
Yeah.
And the last time you saw your dad was a few years. Another lie.
Yeah.
You said that you moved down to Florida at 12 years old by yourself?
No, I didn't do that.
Right, that's a lie, right?
Yeah.
You didn't do that. You moved down with your dad.
Yeah.
Right? Your parents were married.
They were divorced.
Eventually they got divorced.
Yeah.
And when your parents got divorced, you went with your dad to Florida.
Yeah.
Right? Your mom and your siblings stayed in Ohio.
Yeah.
Right? And then you testified, or you told them under oath, that you are the only person that drives that car?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Also a lie?
Yeah.
And as far as you were concerned, nothing happened. Right? That's what you told them. Like it was a nothing to you as far as what you just did.
No, I said I was really upset about it, and I didn't want to do that, and it was like just something I felt like I had to do to get out of this.
That was the second statement, sir. I'm talking about the first statement that you were talking to the police. You end the statement and said, as far as I'm concerned, nothing happened.
I don't
remember that statement.
I might not remember that.
Well, it's on the tape. That was
it's on the
tape, right?
Yeah.
So if you said that.
Let me just ask a little bit. You guys are walking over each other a little bit too much.
Sure.
The court reporter's going to have a lot of trouble with that. Just take a pause. Wait till he finishes talking until you answer the question, and he'll wait till you're finished until he starts the next one.
Okay. So on the tape, what you said, if you said it, that would be on the tape, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about now your testimony today, right?
Yes.
Your testimony today, again, is much different than the second interview that you gave.
Yeah, it might be a little different, yeah.
Because now you're saying that a voice was talking to you that's a female voice who told you to do this, right?
Yes.
In your first statement, you said that you came up with that idea yourself.
Overruled.
Right? You said you're talking to yourself. hyping yourself up to do this, right?
I did say that on the video.
Right. You said that you were watching anime videos, hyping yourself up right before you were going to do it.
I said I was listening to like music videos or something, but
Music
yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that it was a female voice talking to you, telling you to do this?
It only said one statement, but yeah, it's something I heard for some reason.
You ever heard of the term a conscience? Conscience?
Yes.
Right? Was that your conscience telling you to do this?
I literally heard a voice in my head just say something to me, and then it disappeared. I never heard it again.
And you testified you weren't telling everything about your dad that you said today, that you said in those statements, right?
Right.
First statement you were talking to the police was with Del Rey was very long, right?
Yes.
Second statement was even longer, right?
Yes.
Third statement was even longest of all of them, right?
Yes.
Hours upon hours of conversations with police officers, telling them what happened and all these lies, right?
Oh, yes.
And the first time you came up with this story was today, 5 years after you murdered your father, right?
I just might have said it differently.
Okay, well, when did you make up this story about when did it come to you in your mind to make up this story?
Overruled.
It's not a story I made up. I mean, I was just not telling the police everything.
You didn't like your dad?
No.
Right? You hated your dad?
Maybe a little bit.
You didn't like the fact that he was controlling the car from you, right?
No, I never had a problem with him, having the car.
You couldn't even drive the car if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, but he would mostly help me get around sometimes. I didn't really need the car for myself.
But you weren't allowed to drive.
I didn't. There was no reason for me to drive. I mean,
okay. You didn't have to go to work.
Well, if I went to work, worst case scenario, I could walk somewhere or take the bus.
And you talked about this time when he hit you when you were 6 years old, right?
Yeah.
And he would keep money away from you, and that made you more angry at him.
I was not angry at him for that.
What were you angry at him for?
There was just some more like abusive behaviors that I thought were like wrong.
You thought he was controlling to you?
I thought he was trying to maybe be like that, yeah.
Kind of acting like your dad?
No, right. Just like kind of like out of line with like normalcy.
Well, let's talk about some things that you lied to about in court. You said you didn't have any money, but didn't you work at Firehouse Subs during this time?
Right before the incident, yeah.
Right. So you were getting a paycheck or getting paid whenever you were working from Firehouse Subs.
Yeah, but it's only every other week or something they give you a paycheck, and I only worked there like not even maybe a whole 2 weeks.
So when you said you didn't have any money, you had money from Firehouse Subs.
If I would have made it to that point, yeah, I would have had a paycheck.
Well, you had enough money to buy a knife that you murdered your father with, right?
I guess I got some change or something and bought it. It was at the dollar store. You
had enough money to buy the gloves that you bought to hide your fingerprints and DNA off of that when you murdered your father, right?
It was like $1, so yeah.
You had enough money to buy the trash bags that you were going to put his body into.
Yeah, it was like $1.
Right? You had enough money to buy, where'd you go? 7-Eleven and buy a coffee to stay awake.
Yeah, it was like a couple dollars.
Right?
Yeah.
So you had money.
A little bit.
Okay. So when you testified that you didn't have any money, is that another lie?
No, I didn't really have, money to myself. I mean, if I had a couple dollars, I mean, I guess I got some change somehow and was able to buy those things.
Now, you said that your dad tried to leave you at some point?
Yeah, he did.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 25.
An adult?
Yeah.
Right. And living two adult men in a SUV get on each other's nerves?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're a man, you like your sleep, don't you?
Yeah.
Right? You don't like being woken up?
No.
You said multiple times you have to go to sleep to the police officers to get rested up from work, to be rested for work, right?
Yeah.
Your dad would constantly wake you up, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Made you angry?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you said that he dropped you off at a park and tried to leave you?
Yeah.
Think it was because he thought you were trying to kill him? Do you think it was because he was suspecting you were trying to kill him?
No.
No?
No.
Did he know you were planning to kill him?
No.
Overruled. You never told him your plan about finding the knife, digging the hole. You never told him any of that stuff, right?
No, I never said anything about it.
Something that you kept secret in your head, waiting for the plan to do it, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, you're talking again about your dad being much bigger than you at the time, right? 2020, when this happened. That's what you testified to today? That your dad was much bigger than you. Right?
Right.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
You're 5'11"?
Yeah.
How tall was your dad?
I thought he was about close to my height, 5'10", 5'11".
So, not bigger than you in height, right?
Well, he's not taller, like way taller than me.
Right, that's my question.
Right.
Not taller than you, right?
Right.
And how much did you weigh back then?
I thought about maybe 140 pounds.
Spot on, right? 140 pounds. You were here when Dr. Reinhardt testified, the medical examiner?
Yes.
Heard her testify that your dad was 156 pounds?
Yeah, I didn't think that was accurate for some reason, but yeah.
You heard that testimony?
Yeah, I did hear it, yeah.
That would mean he was the same height as you and 16 pounds more than you?
According to that, yeah.
And that to you means he was much bigger than you?
No.
Right. That means you're almost the same size as him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a lot of the things that you said to the detective, I want to talk to you about, because you said here that you killed him in self-defense, but a lot of the things you did planned out, right?
Yeah.
This was part of your plan. This plan to do this in self-defense.
Yeah.
Right. Earlier in the day before this happened, that's when you went to the dollar store.
Yes.
And after you went to the dollar store, your plan was to sneak up on to him while he was sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Because when you stabbed him with the knife, he wasn't awake, right?
Yes.
Eyes were closed. His eyes was closed.
Yes.
And you took off your shoes so that he wouldn't hear you coming, right?
Yes.
And then, even after you broke the knife into him, you still hit him with the handle of the knife, right?
I think he actually fell on the ground, and after that, I didn't actually hit him with the handle anymore.
Well, you testified, or in your statement, you said once the knife blade broke off the handle, because you saw the blade was on the floor and the handle was in a different spot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Once the metal of the knife blade broke, you still hit him with the handle of it, right?
If I said that, I don't remember hitting him with the hand. I remember just throwing it after it broke.
Do you remember telling the police that you strangled him?
Yeah.
And do you remember telling the police that he told you stop?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right? And you didn't stop.
No.
You stabbed him multiple times.
Yes.
Because you heard the testimony from the doctor that in total there were 27 different wounds on your father. Right?
I heard that, yeah.
Some of them to his back. Right?
No, I don't remember stabbing him in the back at all. But
you don't remember seeing the pictures of the event?
I didn't actually get to see the pictures.
Okay. So, at some point you were stabbing him in his back?
No, I thought I just hit him in the neck a couple of times.
But if there are pictures of him stabbing him in the back, that would have been from you?
If he fell down and got scraped on his back, maybe, but I don't remember ever stabbing him in the back at all.
Okay. Because when you stabbed someone in the back, that's not self-defense, right?
If you were trying to defend yourself and you had to, like, keep hitting them, maybe hit them in the back by accident.
Defend yourself from a sleeping man?
No, but I mean, if it was like a situation where somebody was doing something, yeah.
Defended yourself from a person that's asleep on the ground?
No.
And you had several opportunities to think about this plan, right? You took some pauses in between doing what you did.
Yeah, there was a little bit of time, yeah.
And there's a videotape of you guys in that little vestibule where the soda machines are and the elevator is, right?
Right.
He gets up off the ground and locks the door. You saw that?
Yes.
And you actually look in the mirror or look in the window pane of the door because that would prevent you from murdering him that night, right?
Overruled.
Yeah, he was just over somewhere else.
Because it's easier to do it out in the big parking garage where he was sleeping than in a little tiny room.
Well, if he locked the door, I couldn't even get in the room.
Right. That would go against what your plan of self-defense was, right?
I guess so.
Okay. And you had this moment of reflection after he went to sleep where there was 20 or 30 minutes, you said, went by where you went to 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Kept thinking about this plan you had.
Yeah.
Drank a coffee so you could stay up.
Yeah.
Came back after the coffee, still had another 20 or 30 minutes to reflect on what you were about to do.
I don't know if I came back and had another 20 minutes.
Okay. How long after you bought the coffee from 7-Eleven to when you stabbed him?
I thought about the time I came back, I went up there and saw he was asleep and did that.
So when you left for 7-Eleven, he was already sleeping?
He was going to bed, yeah.
And when he came back, he's obviously sleeping.
Right.
Right. And at some point during that time, you also went to the beach to dig the hole?
Yes.
Right. Again, in self-defense?
If I was going to hurt him, yeah, I would try to bury the body or something.
And you took off your shoes in self-defense?
I had